Okay, this video is going to be specifically about solving systems of equations on a TI-89 calculator. Several years ago, I had a very good student. They took the SAT. They did well on the math, but they wanted to do better. They did the Khan Academy SAT prep work, and his identified weakness was solving systems of equations. So he asked me for my help. I went home that night, and I learned how to solve these equations myself on the TI-89. And then I put together a quick slideshow with some examples on how to do this, and I showed it to him the following day. And then when he retook the SAT, his score went up, and he said he had 4 questions that were systems of equations, and since he knew how to do them on the TI-89, he said he just crushed them. Okay, here's a TI-89. We are going to use the F2 menu here, so if you're on the home screen, you're going to want to hit F2. That should be your algebra drop-down menu, and we're going to choose the solve feature. We've used that before in class, but here the setup's going to be a little different. I've sort of written it out here. We're going to have solve, and they will give you your left parenthesis. You will type in your first equation. We'll put in the word and. There's a couple ways we can get the word and. You'll type in your second equation, and then you'll give it a comma. And then we're going to use these, I forget, sort of braces, I think these are. Yeah, we'll do a left brace. You'll put in your variable 1, that's usually an x. You'll put in a comma. You'll put in your variable 2, that's usually a y. You will end the braces, and then at the very end, you will close the parenthesis. Here was our opening parenthesis. We will have our closing parenthesis at the end. So let's check out what this looks like. Here is a very explicit systems of equations problem. They just hand you the system, and they ask you to solve it. And in this case, they're only asking for the x value. So to type this in the calculator, down here you're going to do solve. You'll do your left parenthesis. You'll type in the first equation. I used red ink, 2x plus y equals 6. Now we want the word and. The quickest way to get to and is with the catalog key. So here, this button below the apps, you see catalog. If you hit catalog, you'll see an alphabetical list of all the words in the catalog. And is the second word down. So you choose and, it will automatically give you this space, and then we type in our second equation. And that's here y divided by 2 plus 4x equals 12. After our second equation, we want to put in a comma, and then we use the brace key, and the brace is going to be second function parenthesis. So we put in our left brace, we put in x comma y, we close with the right brace, and then we close our parenthesis. If you've typed that all in correctly and you hit enter, you should see the answer x equals this, y equals that. So for practice, you can pause the video here, type that in and try it out and see what you get. And if all goes well, oops, I thought I put the answers in here. Shoot. For that one, I got x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 0. So they're asking you just for x, so we should choose D for 3. If you pick the y value of 0, that would be incorrect. That's a decoy answer, and they put it above the answer that you were going to choose. Oh, okay, I remember what I did. Here we go. Next one. Given the equations below, what is one possible value of y? So here's our equation, xy equals 32, 2x minus y equals 0. Down here at the bottom, I've given you the step-by-step directions for the entry into the TI-89. And again, you can pause the video here, try it on your own. And when I typed in and hit enter, this is what my display showed. X equals 4, y equals 0, or x equals negative 4, y equals negative 8. They're only asking us for possible values of y. So as far as the y goes, I've got 0 or negative 8. I don't see 0 in any of my solutions, but I do see negative 8. So the answer here would be A. Another explicitly given equation here. Again, I didn't type any or write anything out how it would enter into the calculator. So pause the video here, give this one a try on your TI-89 and see what you get. So this is the third question. I got x equals -1, y equals 2. Again, they're asking for the value of x. I got x is -1. That looks like the answer is B. All right, here's another one. Given the equations below. Now, they're trying to throw us a curveball. They're saying, what is C divided by D? I'm going to use x instead of c and y instead of d. So these equations here, I have changed into these equations. Again, I used x and y instead of c and d because x and y are good buttons to use on the calculator. And in this first one here, I multiplied through by a 5, so I got xy minus 10 is equal to 0. And the second equation I basically just left alone. Okay, and when I solved this one, I got x equals negative, wrong one, x equals positive 12, and y equals 2. Now notice in the multiple choice answers, here's 2, here's 12. Those are decoy answers. Remember, they wanted c divided by d, or in our case, x divided by y. So I should take my x 12, and I should divide it by my y of 2, and that gives me the answer we're really looking for, B, value of 6. All right, here's another one for you to try on your own. Here's our systems of equations. And notice they're asking us for what is y minus x. So again, pause the video, solve this, and you should get x equals and y equals. Go back and find y equals x. And in my solutions, I had x was -7, and I had y was 12. So we want y minus x. Y minus a -7. That'll turn to a plus, and we get the answer of 12D. Now, these were all explicitly given systems. They gave us the systems of equations. They handed them to us on a silver platter. You could also run into some like these that are more word problems. So here we're going to have to work through it. And if you read through this one here, we have to assign our variables. I said x is the number of gallons from the first gas station. Y will be the number of gallons from the second gas station. Well, usually one of our equations will be the total, in this case, of gallons. So it says in the setup to the problem, Matthew bought a total of 36.1 gallons. So that is this black inked equation. X plus y is 36.1. That's gallons at the first station plus gallons at the second is total gallons. Now the price comes in. At the first gas station, gas is $1.46. So here's $1.46 times the number of gallons at the first gas station. And then at the second gas station, the price was a little higher, $1.55. So that's our $1.55 times the number of gallons bought at the second station. The total spent was this 54.29. So now that we've got our systems of equations, you can plug that into your calculator. And the final question is, how many gallons of gas did he buy at each station? So, pause the video, compute your answer, and see if it matches with mine. Hopefully you paused the video and now you're unpausing it. I got at the first gas station, he bought 18.5 gallons. And then at the second gas station, he bought 17.6 gallons. Next word problem. We're back to multiple choice. They're selling packs of custom printed t-shirts and sweatshirts. So you can get 10 dozen tees and 14 dozen sweatshirts, and that's $1,544. You can get a different package with 18 dozen t-shirts and 8 dozen sweatshirts, and that's $1,472. It says write and solve a systems of equations to find the cost of a dozen t-shirts. Final answer is t-shirts only, so it's kind of like we're just solving for x. So here's my systems. The first one I did in black ink. 10 dozen t-shirts and 14 dozen sweatshirts are 10x and 14y. And our total cost for that package. The other package was 18 dozen tees and 8 dozen sweatshirts, and that package price was $1,472. So again, pause the video, solve these in your calculator, and again, find the cost of a dozen t-shirts. When I solved it, I got x was 48 and y was 46. So if I go back here, I'm looking for 48. Here's 76. That is the cost of sweatshirts. They didn't want sweatshirts, and the decoy answer was put first. Again, our good number was 48. Oops. So 48 is letter C. Now this, again, it's a word problem, and these can be tricky. 3 times one number added to 5 times another number is 54. Well, I just like to say x is my first number, and I'm going to call y my second number. So here it says 3 times one number. Well, I'm just going to call that 3 times the first number. And then we are going to add to that 5 times the second number, 5 times y. That total is 54. There's the first equation in our system. Now, if I continue reading, the second number is 2 less than the first. Well, so here's my first number, and I have to subtract 2 to equal the second number. X minus 2 is equal to y. Some people might read that and come up with the equation y plus 2 equals x, and that's also fine. If I add 2 to this side, I would add 2 to this side and get x equals y plus 2. Either way, this is our system, and we want to find those two numbers. So find x and find y. Pause the video. And if it all went well, you should have got x was 8 and y was 6. All right, here's another hidden sort of word problem for these systems. The first, I'm going to just call x my first number. I'm going to call y my second number. And what I underline in red, it says the average of the two numbers is 7. So how do you find an average of two things? You add them together and divide by 2. So that's this x plus y is equal to, or x plus y over 2 is equal to 7. Now for ease to type that into calculator, I multiplied both sides by 2. So I got x plus y is equal to 14. And then back up to the description, it says find the numbers if 3 times the first number is half the second number. So here I wrote 3 times the first number is equal to half of the second number. Again, for ease of computation, I would multiply both sides by 2, and I would get 6x is equal to y. Now, it's real easy to type those in the calculator and find your first and your second number. I got 2 and 12. All right, I think I got one more example for this video. It's an inventory problem. So the first part, they want a systems that represents the number of items. And then the next part, how many laser printers and how many monitors were delivered. Well, for variable assigning, I called x my printers, y my monitors. So it says here on the loading dock, we've got 30 boxes. I'm assuming each box contains one item. So here's my boxes of printers. Here's my boxes of monitors. That I know I've got a total of 30 boxes. Now we bring in the price. So the printers are $700 each, and the monitors are $200 each, and the total invoice is $15,000. So there's my systems of equations. Again, pause the video and try to solve that on the TI-89. I got 10 printers and 12 monitors. Yeah, and I guess that would be the answer to question here 43. How many laser printers? How many monitors? 10 printers, 12 monitors. All right, that's a good spot to end the video. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions about this or anything else SAT related, just ask me during class or send me a question on Teams.